the ANC's highest decision-making body is holding an important NEC meeting today, in which it could potentially take a decision on former President Zuma. The party is currently briefing the media. Let's take you there live.
But we are also quite aware that the support to the ANC-led government has also been overwhelming and beyond just one or two countries. At some point, we will share with you that kind of support. We all need each other when it comes to economic opportunities and investments. We are a market, and we also are a highly resourced country with our rich minerals and capabilities, as well as with many other new friends. It can be correct that when we take a decision that is a decision informed by our own life experience, we can then be threatened. Even with what is coming out of the Congress people, we've also welcomed the adverts that were put by the other communities and structures in the United States and world over that have supported us and even condemned what is actually being perceived as a United States kind of a position. This is a struggle, and it does have casualties, but we do believe that through our own relationship with those countries, we shall engage them, we shall persuade them, we shall make them to appreciate. But of course, as what Comrade President had said in France, we're not beggars. We also are a fertile ground for other economies to grow. And we also have other friends in the world that can also help South Africa to fight poverty, to fight unemployment, to grow our economy. There's no big brother in this. There's a whole call that let there be peace and friendship. If it comes at a price, we shall overcome, as we did also in our own situation, and where the world also took a stance and put the apartheid government actions as a crime against humanity. So South Africans must tighten the belt. The struggle continues.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Firstly, with regards to the ICC and the meaning of the judgment with regards to individual responsible people within the state of Israel. Firstly is that the judgment, although is not binding on the ICC or its prosecutor, but a prosecutor can take into consideration what the judgment has said in or their investigation on the case, on the matters that they're dealing with in Palestine. We have, as you are aware, as the South African government has opened a case with the prosecutor last year, where they have already instituted an investigation. And I believe there are also many other states that have done the same, which the prosecutor is consolidating, is dealing with regards to the crimes in that area, which are falling within the Rome Statute. I also had an opportunity to meet the prosecutor in early December last year, when I attended the conference of state parties. We had one-on-one engagement because of our express view that we expressed in the conference of state parties about the selective resources that the ICC has been putting, and also the fact that this case of Palestine has long been opened with the ICC by other countries long before us, but the ICC has moved ahead on other matters and not putting the same level of resource and commitment to this one. And the prosecutor committed to the South African government in that meeting that they are putting resources, they are doing everything, and the investigation is ongoing. And I believe that he also issued statements to that effect when he visited some parts of Gaza and so forth during that period. But we also issued that statement ourselves after meeting the prosecutor. So indeed, there is work ongoing by the prosecutor of the ICC to deal with individuals responsible on this issue. But if you also have now seen the judgment, it also says the state of Israel must prosecute with individuals that are that have been inciting genocide, violence, and so forth. So the judgment itself also directs that the state of Israel must do so. The judgment that we're talking about, that they must take actions to prevent it from happening, this genocide which is within the convention. What is the interpretation with regards to the ceasefire? Firstly, I want to bring to the context that now that we have all read the judgment, we have had an opportunity to read the judgment, I just want to bring context that the court, how it operates, it has got a discretion. And its discretion is wide. If you look at all judgments the court has delivered, not only the South African one, whether you talk about the Russia judgment, the other ones that it has delivered, it has not taken word by word what the state had requested. But with the state of South Africa, with our judgment, the court has almost taken almost most of the prayers that we requested for. The only thing is that with regards to the ceasefire, it did not use the same words that we put, but it's exactly what we had requested for. And Minister Pandor explained it there that there is no way that you can allow for humanitarian aid without a ceasefire and so forth. So in a different wording, we can say, if you say, if I want to say don't destroy a house, and I say to you, instead of I say don't destroy a house, I say to you, please don't remove bricks, don't remove doors, don't remove windows, don't get in and do anything to that house. Without me saying don't destroy the house. I've said that. I've still said, please don't destroy that house. So if you look at the judgment, all the things that it says, it amounts to a ceasefire. It says, do not commit acts that are genocidal, don't incite, hold accountable those that are inciting violence, allow humanitarian and all that. All those things, look at them cumulatively, they amount to a ceasefire. So we have achieved the objective of our submission. So in our view, our prayers were responded to by the court, and the court has granted us what we had requested. So we have achieved that. And the commentators that across the globe, there is consensus, even by international relations experts, by diplomats, by all commentators in the globe, there is consensus that indeed this amount to what South Africa had requested for the state of Israel to cease fire. The only ones who are interpreting the verdict differently for the sake of propaganda is the state of Israel. They have always been running the war in a form of propaganda until South Africa submitted the papers, and the world has viewed this differently. So they have not changed. They are still running it, responding in a propagandist way, instead of dealing with the facts and the true factual outcomes of the case, which is what we call for them to do, and to respond and comply with the court judgment. Where you say I have been quoted with regards to being threatened, I said that commentators in South Africa had said that there could be economic repercussions for South Africa and so forth, as and when we're taking the matter. But we stood by our decision and our view, because we believe this was a principled position. And the president also said the same. You will remember in Bombela that there has been commentators that have been saying that, hey, it looks like you have taken more than you can chew. But it has been proven that this principled position has been a correct position and decision by the South African government. And I also said there that I think this also was one of the most courageous decisions by the South African cabinet and also by the president, because you know, when you make submissions, sometimes they can say no, and the president could have said, no, we can't do this. But the president gave us an initiative, he supported the work, and even today he stood very firmly because he believed this is a principle that as a South African government we must stand for. We must be able to speak for on behalf of the children and the vulnerable women and the people of Palestine, standing on the shoulders of giants like Nelson Mandela. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ronald. I am going to indulge any other colleague who wishes to ask something from the DSG and Comrade Ronald. I see ENCA is quite active this morning. Over to you, Muluku.
We get paid to ask these questions.
Correct.
I must work. Yeah. So I just need your comment with regard to the statement issued by the United Kingdom here, the British government, through a statement that they issued yesterday in reaction, the Foreign Office, in reaction to that judgment, and I will just quickly read out. They basically are saying that that particular judgment isn't helping things. And they are saying we respect the role and independence of the ICJ. However, we have considerable concerns about this case, which is not helpful in the goal of achieving a sustainable ceasefire. My question is, in the context of the role of multilateral institutions, which we know were established by following the Second World War and all that, some of them. And one would say this, if I were to put it in the inverted commas, these are their laws, these are their institutions, which they would always refer others to. And now they are doubting decisions of the same courts. What is your reaction there? What is this devaluing perhaps the standing of these multilateral institutions?
Thank you very much. I don't know if DSG or Comrade Ronald would want to give it a shot.
Coming from our 55th National Conference, we did take a resolution that there is a need to review these multilateral bodies and ensure that they are representative and are able to deal with the current demands and issues. We've not seen the statement. However, I think all of us have to now welcome what is the product. It is also quite heartening to hear that the same people that have been defending these bodies are now actually having reservations. We went there understanding that we still want to insist that there is a reform of the United Nations Security Council. There's a reform on how the General Assembly takes resolutions. There's a need to ensure that bodies such as the court itself are given the necessary support and also take the kind of consideration they've shown on this one, as Comrade Lamola is indicating that even with the ICC, there are many cases that have been put and have not been attended to. We're not punching above our head. We have mobilized, and as it has happened with our own cause, we do believe that even on these matters, we shall find a better way of making them relevant and being of use, particularly in the interest of the most vulnerable and those that are disadvantaged, such as the situation in Palestine, the situation in Cuba, the situation of Western Sahara. So, yeah, we remain convinced that there is a need for reform. Even the NC statement today does call for that. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I assume that we are done. We're just going to have one final response. And I would also request the DSG and or Comrade Ronald to also just speak about what is next for the ANC in terms of this campaign.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think just to add on what the DSG has said on with regard to the multilateral institutions and the comments coming from various countries. What we have observed is that, like the comment you are referring to from the British government, is that when they want to comment, we have submitted an 84-page document. There is a judgment, well detailed and well reasoned. So a general comment to say the judgment is not helpful is not a helpful critique. They must be able to be specific, because we are specific when we make our submissions, that we believe that the judgment is going to help with the humanitarian, because it has called for the state of Israel to stop genocidal activities, to stop incitement and so forth and so forth. So the judgment is detailed, is specific, it's well reasoned and articulated. Any government that wants to criticize the judgment or the actions of the South African government must do the same. They must be detailed, they must be specific, so that there should be a proper intellectual engagement. To just make a sweeping statement does not help the international discourse to resolve the solution. So that is what we call for, and this was also some of what we observed as we're going to attend the court, with the U.S. government just saying in 3 lines our submission is meritless, is baseless, and so forth. The judgment has proven that our submission had substance, was forensically presented by our lawyers, was well reasoned and well thought of. So anyone who wants to come into the space must do the same. And we also are very happy that there are also many countries across the globe that have welcomed the judgment, they've agreed with the judgment, its substance, its operational meaning, and everything, and they are calling for its immediate implementation. And these are powers and also players in the UN Convention. So that is what must happen, and that is how we must move forward. The last point that Comrade Mahlengi spoke about, I will leave it to the DSG. Thank you.
After reading the statement, I did say the struggle continues and our solidarity work has to be intensified. We will be engaging with different sectors and formations here and abroad to look at mobilization of support, particularly on humanitarian aid. We will also be working together with our own comrades and friends locally and internationally on possibilities of us being able to continuously get the update. Remember, the ruling also says the South African government must be finished with the report. So we will also use the processes that we have had of mobilizing and consolidating the support to then get an update and be able to map out the way forward. Of importance, until there is everlasting peace in Palestine, and until there's an implementation of a two-state solution, the struggle is not over for the people of Palestine. And up until the Israeli apartheid government is held accountable for the deaths of so many people, children who were killed in a pediatrician ward, women being killed, and women being opened their bellies as they are carrying their own unborn babies. Those are the things that we will continue to raise awareness, because the court decision is not the end about the cause for a free Palestine.